Lance? Yes, sir. You good? Yes, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I call the regularly scheduled meeting of your Board of Commissioners to order. And we will start with an invocation being delivered by the Reverend Joe Hout of St. John Methodist Church. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner-elect Houston Barrow. If everyone would please rise.
Thank you. I wanted to lift up a prayer from St. Francis of Assisi tonight. Let us pray. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank both of you for helping us out tonight. Next, we'll turn it over to our manager, Lance Metzler. We have a recognition for the studio group of Rockingham County for their 75th anniversary.
Yes, Mr. Chair. A resolution honoring the studio group of Rockingham County's 75th anniversary. Whereas the Reedsville Studio Group, later becoming the Studio Group of Rockingham County, was founded by Phil and Peggy Link in 1947 after they moved to Reedsville, North Carolina from California, where they frequently visited art galleries to study the old masters. And whereas upon returning to Reedsville, Phil Link, a pharmacist and also a writer and painter, went back to work at his family business, Link Brothers Pharmacy, and Peggy Link, being new to the area and longing to meet with local working artists, formed the studio group, and they began meeting monthly. And whereas the group originally included Phil and Peggy Link, Billy Jacobs, Wright, W.C. Mutt, Burton, and Martha Burton, Redford and Charlotte Kate, and Anna Love Rankin, with the members meeting to discuss art, learning more about art techniques, and to critique each other's artwork. And whereas the studio group of Rockingham County, considered the first and oldest of its kind in the state, started with a unique and formal organization, is now reorganized statewide, being honored on its 50th anniversary in 1997 with a celebration with the North Carolina Museum of Art in Raleigh that was also celebrating its 50th anniversary. And whereas the studio group's membership averages between 20 and 25 members and is limited to only those who are active artists, with the groups being currently comprised of painters of various styles, photographers, glass artists, writers, mosaic tile artists, and potters. And as member Barbara Sanders says, the joy of making art is our common thread. And whereas the studio group has an art show and sale at Penthouse each year, has their art displayed throughout the county, and as part of their legacy, they aspire to encourage and promote the arts by giving a scholarship to an art student at Rockingham Community College. And now therefore be it resolved by the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners that the studio group of Rockingham County be congratulated and honored on their 75th anniversary and for their diverse artistic contributions individually and as a group, and their legacy of promoting the arts in Rockingham County. This the 21st day of November 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Gentlemen, do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Travis, second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. And do we have
any representation? Okay.
we've got somebody to snap
Please,
some.
come on.
If you can come forward, sir. All right. There she is. Okay, we couldn't see. We can come around.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Here, take that he was with them.
Like just a hair that way. Fabulous.
I'd just like to thank the Board of Commissioners for this resolution, and I'm going to say, we'll find the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I was just saying, I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for this resolution this evening. I'm currently president of the studio group, and I'm honored to be in that capacity. I'm a relative newcomer. All of the people that were just named were early on in the organization, and many of them longtime residents. I've only been in Rockingham County for 13 or 14 years myself, but hopefully making some useful impact by being part of the studio group and promoting art in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, and while we've been able to frame the resolution, you can hang that on the wall. We also have a small token that you can wear, a lapel pin, so you know everywhere you go, you're in a good place. All right, thank you.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind staying down here. It's, I've got the next resolution. It's an honor and privilege to read this resolution. Craig was here. He was one of the first commissioners that hired me when I came back almost 11 years, December 5th, 11 years ago. And so it is an honor and a privilege to be able to read this to our outgoing dedicated commissioner. It's a resolution honoring Craig Travis for his dedicated service to the citizens of Rockingham County. Whereas T. Craig Travis has given generously of his time and energy in public service to the citizens of Rockingham County while working full-time for AT&T. And whereas T. Craig Travis was elected to the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners in November 2010, reelected in 2014 and 2018, serving as chairman in 2016 and as vice chairman 2013 through 2015. And whereas during his 12-year term as commissioner, T. Craig Travis was an advocate for solutions for the opioid crisis and served on the opioid task force, worked to improve the litter situation in the county, worked with the consolidation of health and human services, and it was influential in bringing in a program integrity investigator to assist with fraud investigations of social programs in the Department of Social Services. And whereas, as a commissioner representative, he served on the Animal Shelter Advisory Board, Fire Rescue Commission, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, as Rockingham Community College Trustees Liaison, on the Solid Waste Committee, Tourism Development Authority, Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee, Piedmont Area of Regional Transportation Board, was chair of the Judicial Center Coordinating Committee, and vice chair of the Western Library Building Oversight Committee. And whereas through his work on the Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee, he was instrumental in starting the Youth Outdoor and Hunting Safety Day, now held annually, teaching children of all ages hunting and gun safety. Commissioner Travis stated in reference to this event, this is all about safety for our kids, to teach our kids gun safety. We will show them how to be responsible. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners that T. Craig Travis is hereby honored for his years of dedicated service to his community and the citizens of Rockingham County this 21st day of November 2022. Congratulations. Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Sweet, do you want me to just do y'all two?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you, Lance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think you did it.
Next, we do have approval of tonight's agenda. We do have the addition of 7B, which is the minutes that are at your, with your packet, and also a closed session at the end pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A6 to discuss personnel. With those changes, I believe we have a motion.
Moved.
Okay, by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Next, ladies and gentlemen, is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are non-controversial in nature. If you have any questions about items on the consent agenda, please contact our county manager, Lance Metzler, or his staff, and they'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. With that, gentlemen, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Then on public comment, no one signed up for public comment, so we'll move to public hearings. And under public hearings, we do have one matter, which is case 2022-21, a zoning amendment, rezoning from RP to highway commercial.
Good evening, everybody.
Don't have Marzi tonight.
Good to see you. Now I look very different, don't I? Yeah. Well, I can find my mouse. Marzi is actually on vacation this week, so he had asked me to present this one to you. I actually presented this one to the planning board, and it's right in front of my mouth, in October. This case, as you know, as you look through your packet, I'll try to be Marzi short. I know he's really good about getting through here. Is essentially a request for rezoning from RP to highway commercial. There are 4 parcels involved, all at the corner of 87 and Holiday Loop in the Reedsville Township. This is a straight rezoning, no conditions attached to this one. Planning board voted unanimously to recommend approval of it in October. There you can see it's just outside the Reedsville city limits. A zoning map of the area will show you that there's a pretty fair mix of uses. Just to the north is the lower border of the Reedsville ETJ, and just to the northwest, there's some other portions of the Reedsville ETJ, most of which is industrial and residential. It is partially in the Jordan Lake protected watershed. It is in the G1 land class. The G1 land class doesn't specifically point out highway commercial as a supported use, but it doesn't speak against it. It does directly support neighborhood commercial. But when you take this request on the whole, which includes the fact that there are 2 parcels, even though they're they're zone residential protected, they've had for many, many years highway commercial scale commercial activities going on them on the 87 side. And the other 2, and the zoning mix in the area, it makes it a sort of reasonable request, so we've recommended approval of it. I don't know if Mr. Morris, the applicant, is here this evening, but I'll be glad to answer any questions for you.
Does anyone have any questions before we open the public hearing? Okay. Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. No one signed up to speak during the public hearing. So with that, we will close the public hearing. Gentlemen, do we have any questions, or do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the rezoning with all its,
Statements and analysis?
that's it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Powell,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you. Then on to item 10, Ronnie Tate and Bill Lester.
Good evening, gentlemen. I've got 2 items tonight, and the first is a presentation by Bill Lester with LKC Engineering. Just a brief summary of the utility work the county has completed, leveraging the original funding for additional work in the upcoming projects that the county has in planning stages. And I'll turn it over to Bill if that's okay, and let him
Yes, sir.
do the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for letting me be here tonight. I'll try to keep this brief and then allow for some questions. We wanted to talk a little bit about going forward and some of the things we're going to do, but Ronnie and Lance, we wanted to at least kind of put it in your record, the things that you have done. You've done a lot of great work with some funding that was made available to you, and we just wanted to summarize it. But in 2017, We received funding through the Office of State Budget and Management of $10.9 million. A little reminder, when that money was set up, it was set up for what we called Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 water mains on the western side of the county, hopefully to include a tank. What happened was all of those lines were constructed with that money, and with some of the money that was leveraged, and back then we were actually getting some really good prices. We completed all 3 phases of those water mains, which provided a complete link from 220 to 158, finished out the 158 system. It provided an additional supply line between Mayodan and Madison that makes water available down 220 for the county. The tank was completed with some funding we leveraged from Golden Leaf. That was an additional $2 million. And sewer was installed to the corporate park through $2 million from the Community Development Block Grant Program. So using local match and leveraging those other $4 million and getting good prices, you not only completed the work we set out to do, but we completed Gold Hill booster pump upgrades, some interim upgrades there. We made extensions on North Carolina Highway 65, Gold Hill water main, the Carlton Road water main extension, Newnham Road, kind of short extension, and added mixing systems to the tank. So I'd like to think you did a good job. The county also leveraged that 10.9 and got another $4 million. What you also did in that process is you were kind of keen on the capital improvement planning, looking at new funding, obviously making requests and things like that. So we actually, during that process, competitively sought out and got funding for your Hogan's Creek booster pump station upgrade and relocation, as well as the Fishing Creek pump station. Fishing Creek was flooding a lot, and we're going to be able to move it. So that was over $3.5 million secured competitively during that period. And as we're getting that, we're moving into a phase where we're receiving some more funds through the Office of State Budget and Management. That's going to be $27.8 million, and the county has designated $12,850,000 to go along with that to continue the sewer capacity upgrades that you have initiated design on that we're nearing completion, to go along with some things that are supplementing the water supply. The sewer capacity upgrades, all pump stations and force mains along 220 with some gravity improvements are being upgraded and discharging now directly to the town of Mayodan Regional Wastewater Plant. Some of those funds will go towards upgrades at the wastewater plant to accommodate the additional sewer. There are secondary water supply initiatives that'll come out of this so that water can be pumped from 2 directions down 220, and miscellaneous booster pump improvements that are required to get water to the same level as sewer in the supply level down US 220. I mentioned the capital improvement planning that the county staff had been doing as we went along. During this process, we also have been able to obtain asset inventory and assessment grants for your water and your wastewater system, which is $300,000 towards a complete comprehensive review of all of the inventory, including the critical assets, a lot of field work to determine any deficiencies. And again, it'll be some detailed capital improvement planning, hydraulic models and things going forward in the future. Kind of a brief update. We're always looking, trying to identify with staff other opportunities, but I think there's a pretty good history there in these last 4 to 5 years of a lot that's been done and a lot of money secured that I think you're going to do some good with. But if you have any questions in some detail, I was kind of trying to keep it brief, but I'll be glad to get into any detail that you have any questions on.
Do I have any questions? Mr. Lester? No? Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay. I believe you're back up, Mr. Tate.
Yes, sir. The second item I've got is a request for board approval for renovation to an existing space we have where Help Incorporated used to be located at. That is the half of the Board of Election, or a little bit, not quite half, but part of the Board of Election facility. And that is a request to allow the staff to renovate that facility and turn it into a staff wellness center. The cost of that project is $127,000. $20,000 of it coming from money from the wellness fund that Chris works with our insurance provider. $40,000 from shared savings, and the remainder from the county fund balance. And just a brief overview of that space and what we would like to do to it. It's approximately 2,880 square feet. We would demo the entire space with the exception of the existing restrooms and mechanical rooms, remove the flooring from the area, repair drywall and the ceilings, construct a new shower locker room area, install a sound wall between the fitness center and Board of Elections, upfit the space by painting it, install flooring, TV monitors, speakers, badge system for security getting into the facility, and security cameras and exterior lighting. I made an allowance of $50,000 for the fitness equipment. We're not sure how much that's going to cost. We've been looking a little bit, but since we started looking at this project for some good used equipment, we just wanted to have a budget to do that with. And so this facility would be open for staff use 24/7, 365 days a year. And there's a sketch of it in your packet, and I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you have.
Gentlemen, questions?
I got a question, Mr. Manager. I believe you sought personnel input about their preferences on this.
Since I've been here, we've done surveys every other year, and in those surveys, that's one of the larger things they have, other than getting salary increases, to the ability to be able to have somewhere to be able to work out, be it, it wouldn't be, obviously it wouldn't be during the day, it might be during their lunch hour, it could be after hours. You've got EMS that works late, they could go over there at 12 o'clock in the morning, whenever they can. It's just an opportunity to be able to provide something more than just funding.
Okay. Mr. Metzler, as far as the wellness of our staff, we're self-insured.
Yes, sir.
And being self-insured, I notice in the restrooms, there's scales, there's things that have been placed around to encourage staff to be in as good a shape as possible.
Yes, sir.
And this will assist with the goals as far as the health goals that have been set by Chris, and that I believe there's some other benefits as far as having a facility here for staff.
Yes, sir. They're not only just having a facility, but having a space where people can have different type of programs, after-hour programs, or during lunch programs, or before-work programs.
I guess what I'm getting at is that will also help us as far as health insurance if they improve their overall health.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a big benefit when you're self-insured.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got some.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Ronnie, me and you spoke. I'm not for this. Don't get me wrong. I'm for the employees' morale. I've been an advocate for them to be in better shape. We had gyms before, and nobody used them. We had gyms at EMS, and nobody used them. We got a gym at RCC, which I understand the problem is it closes at 3, but, we're smart people. We can put badge systems out there, work with RCC, where employees can use that anytime they want to. The problem I'm having with this is I do not want to spend $120-some thousand on a gym when we have dental Medicaid problems, we have opioid problems, we have all kinds of other problems in this county, and it does not look good to the citizens when we're spending $127,000 for a gym for our own employees when we've got problems.
I can respond to that. I know that the gym you were talking about was the one that EMS had. They had one treadmill and one bike, and they were outdated and they weren't open to all the staff. The RCC, I would guests to venture that they wouldn't allow us to have a badge system go in there that have access 24 hours a day. And our employees, we have an obesity problem. Like you had mentioned before, you had talked about having EMS and law enforcement, all of them getting checked every year to make sure they're in compliance. This would just aid in our ability to be able to do that.
And I just might add, last week, we got an email late in the day that the gym was closing early and wouldn't be available for anybody to use, and that happens frequently. We get emails late in the day for whatever challenges they have over there, and the gym's not open. So it's a little hit or miss with them sometimes. So I'll just put that in there.
Let me also add, Mr. Chairman, I've been a county commissioner for 12 years. I pay for my gym membership. I pay for it. The county don't let me use their gym. So, what are we really doing here? Who is this really going to benefit? Because it's not going to benefit the citizens of this county. And ain't that what we're supposed to be working for?
When you save money on the health insurance, that will pay for it more than itself.
Nothing going to change in the last 12 years.
They haven't had access to it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other questions or statements? None?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Hall.
I think it's been said, we're self-insured. Being self-insured, any measure we can do that will help the employees' health and well-being, and if this is reasonable, and I feel this is reasonable when you look at we're probably approaching 700 employees in the county, so the cost per employee is not overbearing. So with that being said, Mr. Chair, I make a motion we accept this recommendation.
Can I add one thing? Will you please add to that, approve the budget amendment too, as well, in your motion?
And approve the budget
Amendment. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Okay.
And just before we vote, excuse me, Mr. Chair, roughly a third of this is optional use of merit money. Is that correct?
Some of the shared savings?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So it's been earned by the staff.
Yes, sir. So we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Hall to approve the request and the budget amendment. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. And opposed? Okay, so it's 4-1.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Next is presentation, Mr. Alan Thompson, our financial auditor.
You should have in front of you a copy of the audit report, and inside that, a smaller binder, looks like this, of the presentation summary, and that's the part I'm going to run from, if that's okay. If you'd be kind enough to flip over to page 1 for me. And if I may say before we start, the main thing you do hire us as an outside auditor to do is issue an opinion on the financial statements as a whole. We issued an unmodified report, which is a quote-unquote clean report. I'm going to read some headlines here because I'm supposed to. On page 1, there were no significant audit findings. On top of page 2, no difficulties encountered in performing the audit, no uncorrected misstatements, no disagreements with management. Management did provide us with a representation letter dated October 27th. We're unaware that management consulted the outside accountants, auditors, et cetera. And then under findings, there is one that I'll address. I think you're all aware. And then there were some technical findings in regards to Medicaid, which is no question cost were involved in those findings. And then if you'd be kind enough to flip over to page 4. I don't say these are all the key numbers in the audit report by any means, but these are some of the numbers that we get asked about on a continuous basis. And the purpose of doing it in this format is simply to allow you to not have to go find previous audit reports, and you see a number in context to prior year numbers, and so it's just not a number hanging out there. You can see the top number there, total fund balance in your general fund is $65,796,000. Unavailable fund balance at $13,782,000. Committed and assigned at $14.7. Total general fund expenditures at $94,112,000. Fund balance available as a percentage at 55.27. The unassigned fund balance at $37,291,000, and then the unassigned fund balance as a percentage at 39.62. Revenues over and under expenditures before transfers. In general funds, a positive $14.493 million. The water fund had a negative $127, and the sewer fund a negative $201,570. The landfill fund had a positive $1,014,000. The cash and investments in the general fund was $46,057,000. That number doesn't include $13,341,000 in investments. So total, and that's a typo error on my part. So the total cash and investments would be $59 million. So I apologize for that. The previous year's numbers do include investments, so that is an accurate comparison. The cash and investments, other governmental, is $41,852,000. If I can say this on the cash and investments, other governmental, you can see there's a big increase. You got a debt issuance that took place prior to the end of the year of $21 million on RCC, which causes that number to be higher. As the project is spent down, obviously that money will go away, so it's a timing issue on a significant amount of that money. Cash and investments in the water fund at $2,008,000. Cash investments in the sewer fund at $548,000. The landfill fund $11,214,000. Again, you see the fund balance in general fund, other governmental funds, same issue we talked about. Net position in your water fund, 17.6, sewer fund, 8,003,000, and then landfills, 11,897,000. You see your property tax rates there, collection percentages underneath that. Collection percentage as high as this year as in any of the previous years. Collection percentages excluding motor vehicles doesn't have the meaning it once did. And then total property valuation and levy amounts fall underneath that, and then you see the general fund expenditures, revenues and expenditures by department. I do want to mention you'll notice fund balance in general fund is significantly higher, so it's highest in any of the 5 years presented. Same thing's true of the percentage fund balance available as a percentage or unassigned fund balance. So strong financials there overall. On page 5, we attempt to chart some of these things out. You can see a nice chart there on total fund balance in the general fund, and then committed and assigned fund balance there in red. You can see on the bottom a nice bump there, total fund balance available at 55.27. On page 6, you can see analysis of unassigned fund balance, 39.62%. It's a good number there as well. On the bottom, you see revenues over and under expenses before transfers, with your general fund and your solid waste fund being positive and the water and sewer funds being negative. On page 7, you see your cash balances and your fund balances there. And cash balances is accurate because the investments aren't included in the number there, but it's $101 million in total cash and $139 million in total fund balances. You see the property tax rates there on page 8 graphed out with the collection percentages there graphed out as well. And then on page 9, you can see where your total revenues by percentage with ad valorem taxes being 54.49%, by far the largest. And on the bottom where you've got public safety, human services, and education being the top 3 there. On page 10, if you've been here a while, you know that the LGC might send a unit letter out. Well, 6/30/21, they stopped sending unit letters out. And so 60 days from tonight, you would have, so they asked the auditor to say whatever they want to say in their previously named unit letter. And the only thing that they're asking for a response on is the water sewer fund issue, which I think y'all are all familiar with. I'm happy to answer any questions of you tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you take it home and read through it, you're welcome to call my office. Happy to talk to any of you anytime. And then if I happen not to be there, tell them give you my cell phone, I'll get you an answer. And with that, happy to answer questions, sir. Thank you for allowing our firm to perform the audit.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the audit?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Metzler, do we need a motion to accept the audit or want to wait till?
Do we need it? No,
No?
it's just
Okay.
information only, correct? Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I would like to take a moment to say thank you to our county manager and to Ms. Galloway for a job well done. This is good news, a great report, so thank you guys for doing a great job.
Yes, sir. Thank you for those comments, Commissioner Hall. And I believe everyone up here agrees with everything that you said. New business items?
Yes, sir.
Okay. With that, Commissioner comments. Commissioner Travis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I want to first, I guess, thank God for allowing me to be up here for 12 years. It's been a journey, big journey. And I want to say thanks for my family. They've had to put up with a lot the last 12 years, rumors and lies and stories that everybody wants to tell about a politician. With that, I want to say to Houston Burroughs and John Morris, congratulations and good luck, and please prepare your family for what you're getting ready to get into, because they're the ones that stand by you, and that's what's so important. The citizens of Rockingham County, thank you so much for allowing me to serve. It's been a wonderful honor to serve you, and even this Saturday, I had people calling me, asking me to do stuff for them, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to help. And Houston, I hope you have that helping, giving heart, because that's what the citizens of this county need. They don't need no greed. They don't need no selfishness. You need to be there to support them. And I appreciate all my family and friends. Lance, I'm so glad I was one of the commissioners that hired you 11 years ago, because you are one of the best in the state. And I hope this board continues to believe that. If not, call me. I'll cuss them out for you. You know that. I want to also thank Mark Richardson and Charlie Hall for being professionals and gentlemen. It was a privilege working with them and communicating with them. With that, thank y'all so much, and hopefully you keep an eye out for me, because you never know. I might knock one of these guys out next to go around. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell?
Yes, I too would like to thank the county manager and Pat Galloway for their service to the county and what they've done with this particular budget or audit. It looks very, very good. It looks like we've had a very good year, and we have some very good employees, very good department heads, and I think we have a good team here, and so I appreciate all that you guys do. I would like to say congratulations to Mr. Morris for his win here in the recent election. Mr. Barra, we look forward to your service on the board with us as well. And thank the county residents for their desire to get out and vote in the last election. So that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a week of Thanksgiving, and it's a time to look at all the blessings we've received in this community and in this state and in this country. So it's really a time to be grateful and thankful. And so just when you're off Thursday, just look at the many things that you have in your life that you have to be thankful for. And speaking of that, we appreciate the ability to serve. Thank you, Craig, for your service. And with that, I'll say good night.
Commissioner Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to recognize Doug Isley from the Rockingham County School Board for being here, and Commissioner-elect. Good to see you here, Houston. And I, too, would like to thank our staff, because this good budget report reflects well on all the staff. I think we're particularly good at not wasting money, not spending money we don't have, and not buying things we don't need. And there are lots of good things up. I enjoyed visiting the new dental facility, which I think is going to be providing remarkable service to the county. So thanks to the staff. As a matter of public information, I received concerns, particularly from the western part of the county, about the ability of Rockingham County to support 3,500 to 4,000 new homes in the next 10 years. And your commissioners are looking into those things. I do have a report from North Carolina DOT that an intersection is going to be required somewhere near an appropriately adjusted intersection to handle the masses of traffic that we anticipate there near the intersection of NC 68 and I-73/220. And this is on what we call the STIP. So the plan is there, and there will be public hearings for those people interested in that in the future. The U.S. Post Office has been advised of this requirement, and also you heard from our most able water and sewer engineer about preparations to take care of that. So if any citizens have questions about those details, feel free to ask our engineering department, but I just want to assure you that those are ongoing activities to support what has been approved by your commissioners. And I, too, would like to thank Commissioner Travis and wish you well in the future, Craig.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in tonight and coming out tonight. We are headed into the holiday season, so if you would, please remember those that are suffering during, I'm trying to pull something up. Let's see. Here we go. Are suffering from the loss of a loved one during this time. Also, our Department of Social Services seeking sponsorships for adults and children. If you'd like to sponsor a child or an adult in DSS care, please contact 336-342-1394. For adults, that's extension 7170, and for the children, it is extension 7090. Also, the former Eden City School System employee as a coach and as a teacher and also a principal, Mr. Arlen Bunch, passed away recently. So if you could remember his family in your thoughts and prayers. I believe he ended up retiring from the county school system once they merged. And he served more than 30 years either with Holmes or Moorhead or some of the other schools there. That was the former Eden City School System. So we've lost another one of the great ones from our community. Just wanted to mention that. With that, we do have a closed session, and we may have some action after the closed session. So do we have a motion to go into closed session pursuant to 143-318-11A6 to discuss personnel?
You do.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Good. Okay, we are back in open session. We do have one item of business. Gentlemen, do we have a motion to authorize Lance Metzler, our manager, to negotiate for an interim attorney and also negotiate the salary with an interim attorney for up to 3 months and present to Mr. Metzler, authorize Mr. Metzler day-to-day supervision of that interim attorney?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hall. All in,
Position too. We need to add, we're going to add the clerk's position in that too, for the daily supervision?
maybe in the future. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?